Well, today is the I think it's 15th of June. Summer hasn't started, but as far as I'm concerned, it's already waning. April and May are my months. After that, it's like, don't mind the cheeping in the background. I got a couple chicks to go under a broody hen. So I've been paying attention to the news cycle as I usually do every day, and every day I'm just infuriated on what is kind of going on in our country. It's very unsettling as far as I'm concerned. I think what it really bothers me more than anything else is how so many Americans can't think. That is what I think is the most unsettling thing for me, more than anything else, of all of this stuff that we see going on. In the end, that is what really drives me crazy. You have 99.9% of the news media is pushing false information. We're in the middle of a cultural Marxist revolution. It's not hard to see this, and I'll just touch on this. I was thinking about this morning when I was working in my garden. Okay, I'll pay attention to what I have to say here. So I dug up some earthworms, and I was going to do a little video on earthworms. And earthworms are considered on the evolutionary scale of life. Earthworms are considered the first organisms that ended up with a closed circulatory system, which means earthworms are your ancestors, because human beings have a closed circulatory system. Closed circulatory system is a system where you have a heart that is got arteries and veins, and it's pumping blood from one side to the other. Okay, you have a closed system versus what like insects have and so on. But an earthworm has a closed circulatory system, which means they are your ancestors. And the other interesting thing about earthworms is when earthworms mate, earthworms are hermaphrodites. They're neither male nor female. They have both parts, right? So when earthworms mate, both parties fertilize each other, and both parties go away pregnant. So you have it's a win-win situation for earthworms. Both recipients in the mating game produce offspring. That ring that you see around the middle of an earthworm it holds their reproductive parts. So I'm sitting here thinking to myself, what we got going on in our country now? All of a sudden, human beings want to be earthworms. I want you to think about what I said here. We have a segment of our society that wants to be earthworms because for some reason they do not think that we, as human beings, are a sexually dimorphic binary species, which we are. Regardless of what somebody thinks here. I don't care what somebody thinks here. It don't change anything. Everything in your body is screaming either you're one gender or the other. You're on a cellular level. You can't get away from it. Oh, you might want to try to alter it a little bit with some surgical techniques and chemicals and hormones and all kinds of stuff. There's always a price to pay. There's always a price to pay when you bend the rules of nature like this. There's always a price to pay. Right? So we're in the midst of a culture war a segment where our educational system has been infiltrated by Marxists, and the whole game is to separate children from their parents and have the state as the central authority to govern your children and to indoctrinate your children. This is what Marxists do. This is what communists do. This is how they overthrow nations. This is how they destroy cultures. This is what you do. You get a hold of the children, you bring them up in an educational system that's teaching them that they're earthworms from a young age. Now, I am so glad I'm not a parent. Oh, I am so glad I never had children. I feel bad for people who are parents now and people with grandchildren. I got grandchildren, and I don't know how you counteract this stuff. I don't know how you fight this. Parents have to get involved to fight this, because that's the only way. It's the only way. The only way to counteract the indoctrination of children is parents have to get involved. And I don't know, I don't want to think it's too late, but I got to tell you, there is a part of me that's saying it is too late. We are screwed. And I'm thinking about this whole thing with just let's make human beings earthworms, because that's how you feel inside. You know, I'm neither. This is nonsense. And then now you're going to have doctors jump on board with this. You're going to have scientists jump on board with this. And you're seeing it. You're seeing it. Therapists jumping on board with it. You're starting to see this kind of nonsense, and that's exactly what it is. So you want science. That's the crazy thing where we're at is the science doesn't stand for itself. Now you use science to justify social issues. So they change the definitions of things, and they do all these, they do all these crazy, crazy, crazy things. And it is unsettling, to say the least. It is very unsettling. So people will go, well, oh, I believe in science, and now the science says this, and the science says that. You know what I realized about science? Science has become a modern, it's part of a... Oh, there's a homeless person screaming at herself. That's interesting. Screaming at a bush, I should say. So they use science to justify social issues and push progressive bullshit. And they've been doing this for a while now. They'll change the definition of vaccine to fit something that was not a vaccine. They're doing all kinds of stuff. And it should infuriate just typical everyday American people. But I think we're so far removed from reality. It's unsettling. It's really unsettling to me. My fellow countrymen have become a bunch of schmucks. Have become a bunch of highly educated fools, or people that just want to be entertained. It's like the end of the Roman Empire, right? Bread and circuses just keep the people entertained, and the corruption can run amok, and no one's going to pay attention. In the meantime, the barbarians are at the gate. And don't get me going on the rainbow flag, because man, oh man, I'm going to do a whole exposition on that one, where you have to have a flag to represent you, right? Now, we can go on the idea. We can talk about flags and the meaning and symbolism behind flags and what goes on with flags. It's maddening to me. All right, I gotta cut you loose, man. I got something I gotta take care of you here. Until next time.